Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Good evening, good evening, good evening to every single last one of y'all. I'm not going to hold you guys too long because this is not going to be a super long show, to be completely honest. All right? Just so you know. But we are here to have some conversations, talk about a few things that are going on, and keep it moving, keep it popping. So do me a favor before we get everything started. Hit that like button down below, crush it, do it to do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button, follow. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, guys, to this main channel right here. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Hit that notification bell on both platforms so you know whenever I go live, or both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so please go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Yeah, guys. You know what's crazy is it is hot as hell outside. Oh my Lord, it is uncomfortable how hot it is outside. I just want to make that abundantly clear. For those of y'all that don't know, it is hot. It is uncomfortably hot. All right? Some people would say hotter than Satan's balls or something like that. You know what I mean? But it is hot. Okay? Very, very hot. So hopefully you guys are being, staying cool out there. Not just like cool, because I already know y'all are cool. But hopefully you guys are staying cool because damn, it's hot. It is too damn hot. Now, there's a couple things that we need to talk about. There really wasn't a whole lot going on. I mean, they got a few things. Okay, like there's a few things that went on, okay, but not a whole lot of things have gone on, which has been interesting today. It looks like Luigi Mangioni's case is going to be moved. It's set for sometime in 2027. There's some things that happened at the BET Awards, but there really isn't like a whole lot of stuff that's been going on. You know what I'm saying? Except for this damn heat. Of course, there's some other things, too. There's just been a little sprinkling here and there of a smattering of different things. But we've got to talk about a few things before we go into the main conversation. And, of course, this is the thing. We're hearing a lot of information from TMZ in regards to the Nancy Guthrie stuff. So I say we got to kind of take a lot of that with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? With all due respect. We just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, okay? But again, they're sitting there saying, "Ooh, yeah, they're closing in on a suspect." But I feel like we've heard that before. We're going to discuss that even more in a little while, okay? I just want to make that abundantly clear. Now, let's talk about this, okay? Yeah, there was a lot. The classic one, absolutely, a lot going on with SCOTUS, okay? Supreme Court made some decisions that either really pissed people off or made people really, really happy. So we may sprinkle into that in a little bit. But first, we have got to get into this conversation. Hold on real quick. We got a super chat from, my chat is all messed up. So just so you know, I'm going to be reading off to the side over here. But it's Corey, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the love. It's hot and humid. I'm stuck between the Gulf of America and the Tampa Bay. Dang. Wow. That sucks. Why are you out there? Because if it's vacation, shut up. I'm kidding. But yeah, if you're like, oh my God, it's so hot, but I'm on vacation. I'm just chilling, vacaying. I'm just loving my life on vacation. You in a hot place for a reason. You understand? But I digress. We have got to get in a conversation here because, okay, yesterday was the BET Awards. And I know a lot of y'all some of y'all like, what's the BET Awards? Well, BET Awards is kind of like the MTV Awards, if they even still do that crap. I don't even know if MTV does awards anymore. Do they do like the VMAs anymore? I don't even think they do that anymore, right? Do they do that? Do they do that ish anymore? Do they? Anyway, the BET Awards were last night. Very entertaining. Okay, a lot of Cardi B sliding down on a stripper pole on top of that was attached onto a Harley, and the Harley was farting fire and everything. You know what I mean? It's like vroom vroom, and fire was getting farted out in the back. You know what I mean? It was it was cool, right? It was some cool stuff, right? And then Drewski was also hosting the event, hosting the whole show, which was interesting as well. But something happened outside. Yeah, something happened outside that we need to discuss. Now, if you don't know who Jake Lang is, we've already talked about him ad nauseum here on this show. Okay, let me just like Thanos Nanos, Jake Lang is trash. Jake Lang is garbage juice. He's trash. Just want to make that abundantly clear, okay? Now, what had happened, Jake Lang, we already know how he is. Like I said, he is trash. He is absolute trash. Garbage water, garbage juice. He's that foam in the corner of your dog's mouth when they're rabid, angry, and barking too much. That's who he is. He's the little white, phlegmy stuff in the corner of Gam Gam's mouth when she's talking too much, but she's definitely dehydrated, and you just want to give her like a napkin and a glass of water at the same damn time. You know what I'm saying? He that nasty film on the corner of your mouth. Like, ooh, hate it. He's that trash, okay? He's the worst human being on the face of this planet. You get it, right? Need I say more? He's trash. So, here it is. He's an instigator. He's also a J6er that was pardoned by Trump. He's absolutely out of his doggone mind. He's garbage juice. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Like I said, BET Awards happened yesterday, last night. And this man had the audacity to show up to the BET Awards holding up a sign that we're going to see in this video. He dumb. Like he pulls out all these stunts. I don't know why he does these. I'm still trying to understand. Why does this piece of trash get any attention at all? Right? It'd be wild. I'm going to say what I'm going to say here in just a minute. So he put up, this is his social media post that he put up on X, formerly known as Twitter. All right. And he says this: I was just nearly murdered by a violent black mob outside the BET Awards. No, hold on. You're going to see what he put on a sign. Okay? You're going to see what he put on a sign. And then he showed up to the BET Awards. Okay? This is not a very smart man. He's very dumb. So moving on. They smashed a glass bottle over me in caps, he said, that shattered and cut my face. They ganged up on us like a pack of wild hyenas. I'm bleeding badly and cut everywhere, all the way and on the way to the hospital now. You want to see? You want to see what was going on here? You want to see what was going on? Let's take a look. First off, this guy is special. So he was holding on to a sign. He shows up to the BET Awards, the Black Entertainment Television Awards show, holding up a sign saying black parents are failures. Yeah. So he asked for this. He wanted a reaction, and that's exactly what he got. And he's sitting there going, oh, people were so mad. No, this dude put together a sign, and this wasn't a sign that he just took like a permanent marker and got some poster board from Michael's or I don't know, where else can you get it? Joann's or something like that. Does Joann's still exist? I don't even know. But, you know, a Joann's or an art store or a local grocery store and a big black permanent marker and wrote this down. No, he went to mother-loving Kinko's, or I think it's called FedEx now. He went to FedEx now and got this professionally printed out on poster board. Black parents are failures. Right outside the BET Awards. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Well, we're going to see what exactly happened. But there it is. Black parents are failures. Okay? Just want you to know. All right? And that's him, by the way, in case you didn't know. All right? He's holding up a sign. I don't know how he has money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he has money. I don't know how he gets around. I don't know who's funding him, but we need to find out who's funding this dude. Because there's no way he got a regular ass job going, would you like fries with that? There's no way he's got a regular job. This is the same dude that was just thrown in jail for going cray-cray on J6. All right? He got pardoned, but apparently Trump's given them reparations, by the way. Let's not forget that too. Yeah, guys. This is we living in a weird, messed up, upside down world. All right? And this guy went to a FedEx Kinko's joint, got that professionally printed out. He didn't make that at home. He for damn sure went into a store and printed that out. Wild. Let's take a look at the video.
Throwing stuff at me. What are you doing? Get off me. Don't touch me. Please. I wish you would. I wish you would. I wish the fuck you would. Then go pick him up. Bye. Get out of here.
So how do you think What do you think was going to happen? What do you think he thought was going to happen? Let's talk about this. What did he think was going to happen by him showing up and holding up a sign like that? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to say it right now. Somebody, some deep pocket out there is funding this man. Although I will say this, he still wears the same crap all the time. Same shorts, same shirt that he wears. It's the same crap we see him all the time wearing. So clearly he balling on a budget. All right, he for sure balling on a budget. Okay, same New Balance shoes. I mean, I don't know if they're New Balance. Okay, and let me say that again. Okay, the New Balance shoes be out here. Okay, they be making some kicks. All right, so it's not just the regular dad New Balance shoes that you use to go mow the lawn type of shoe anymore. But you get what I'm saying. He probably wearing some Skechers. Okay, even though Skechers are they got some fire stuff too. But you get what I'm saying. Probably some shoes he found at Marshall's or TJ Maxx on discount. Still wearing the same stuff. Same fanny pack. But real talk, all roast aside, what was he expecting to have happen? This man got a death wish. I'm telling you right now. This man got a death wish. This man does. Hold on. I got another video, another angle. It's bad, y'all. He wanted this kind of trouble. Why? Why? Take a look at this one. Like, what do you think what did he think was going to happen? Now, here's what's so crazy, because Hello How on Kick just said, why was he not arrested? Now, let me just say this, okay? And Southern Side Eye on Kick, absolutely, all right? Definitely, this dude just wanted to cause some trouble for the sake of causing some trouble. But absolutely, because he's an ish disturber, y'all. He gets off on this, okay? It's worse than, it's just racist jackass. You know what I'm saying? Racist jack. Oh, here's another stunt I'm gonna have. The only thing that he hasn't done yet is gone out there and just said the N-word. He has a mission to lose his life on this planet. That's literally what it is. Hello How just said, why was he not arrested? Here's the sad part about this. He has the right to hold up what he wants. He has that right. That is his First Amendment right. The freedom of speech. He can go out there and he can say those things. Doesn't matter if we agree with it or not. He has that right as an American. He's not breaking any laws. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's going to anger everybody. Yeah, it's going to piss people off. Yeah, people are going to react, and have a very visceral, guttural reaction to this situation. But it's still within the confines of his constitutional rights, all of our constitutional rights. And that sucks. That's the one side I hate about the freedom of speech, right? I believe that we all should have the right to say what we want to say. I hate the fact that I have to say these code words on these platforms and, got to say unalive and the R word and the SAs and all that stuff. I hate it with a passion because we're not talking and trying to facilitate hate, okay, when we talk or speak those words and use those phrases, right? But he's using those words out of hate. He's using those words with malicious intent. He's holding up that sign to try to get a rise out of people and get people pissed off. And it worked. Hold on. Crystal, thank you so much for the love on YouTube. I appreciate it. He knows exactly what he's doing. He loves the chaos. Exactly. And this is what's so sad about this situation because, and I'm gonna say something here in a second, okay? But I agree. He gets off on this. But I also think somebody's funding this crap. I said it and I'll say it again. Somebody out here is funding that little piece of trash right there. So this is going to be an unpopular statement. Messi just said this. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. But I'm going to say this again. This is going to be an unpopular statement, but we live in a country with free speech, like I just said, right? We have the right to make as many offensive comments as we want. You're right. We don't have a right to retaliate with violence. Exactly. And that's the sad part. We're seeing these individuals, understandably, angry as hell, and I ain't mad at them. I ain't mad at it. I'm going, hey, you made that bed. You going to get exactly what you going to get because you dishing it. They're going to give it right back to you, especially when they already know about this guy. Okay? All right? Messi, again, the answer to disagreeable speech isn't violence. You're right. It's more speech. They are letting him win and acting the way he expects them to. Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't think he's expecting to get bottles cracked over his head. Maybe an angry mob, sure. But he may not be expecting violence, but maybe he is. I don't know, right? I don't know. But one thing is true. The violence doesn't stop him. It's only going to fuel him even more. And again, this is within his First Amendment right. And that sucks, guys. It sucks because we have those same rights too. I want to be able to say what I want to say, right? Like, for example, I've been kicked off of TikTok twice now, 2 separate times because of this new administration. I'm going to keep it real. When I started talking and asking questions about Epstein, I started giving reports about Epstein, about anything on TikTok in regards to the Trump administration, about the war that we did not want to be a part of, so on and so forth. Suddenly, they started to shut my whole thing down. That is a violation of my freedom of speech. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not calling violence or trying to, I'm not breaking any type of terms of service or anything of that sort, but they found some other way to get my stuff knocked off. A lot of people, a lot of TikTokers or people who have TikTok accounts got their stuff knocked off because of talking about the Epstein files or the administration or how they're screwing things up with everything with this war and whatnot. Okay. People are losing their accounts. That's a violation of freedom of speech. And it's not like we're sitting there saying any of the trigger words that they don't allow you to say on these platforms. A lot of us are very well known to use unalive, stuff like that, right? The M word, crap like that, just so we can continue giving you guys the news and giving you guys the facts, right? And still, me and a bunch of other people got their platforms removed solely because of speaking the truth. Pretty insane stuff, okay? It's funny how freedom of speech should be a thing that we should all have. But there is, especially in situations like this, where it just comes out, where you just kind of wish not everyone got freedom of speech. But unfortunately, we all have that right, the freedom of speech. Even the bad guys, even the guys that we don't like this dude, Jake Lang, okay? Crystal, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. The fact that he's allowed to do this fresh out of jail is also wild. And he definitely knows the people. He definitely knows what? It's kind of like cutting off. He definitely knows the right people to get away with doing this. That's exactly what I mean. He has got to be having some sort of financial backing. That's just what I think. There's no way that this dude is able to go travel all over the country pulling these stunts on his own bag. Let's be real. He may not even have a home. Because of this stuff, he may not even have a crib to lay his head on, okay, or hang his hat in. You see what I'm saying? Like this is bad. All right, this is trash, in my personal opinion. But let's see the rest. But like I said, and I agree with Messi. The one thing we do not need to be doing is violently retaliating against these kinds of acts. I'm going to talk about that in a second more, but let's continue. You know what I also want to know is, did he give people a heads up that he was going to be there, and then that's why this woman right here has a bullhorn? Like, because it's not like you could just walk down the street and buy any old bullhorn at a store. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to the local deli and going, "Excuse me, do you happen to have any bullhorns?" "Oh, yes, we have it right next to the cold cuts." Like, you know what I'm saying? So did he say something? Did he tell people, "Hey, I'm about to be out here. Get ready." And then they showed up. Because you got to remember, there's all kinds of people holding up other kinds of signs, not just him. So did they show up knowing that he was going to be? Did he give these people a heads up? Did he go onto his platforms and he's like, "I know like 90%, hopefully it's more than 90%, but I know 90% of the people that follow me are haters and just want to see where my next what my next stunt or where I'm going to be at, where I'm going to pop up at, so that they can get all up in my face." So maybe that's what's going on. He gave them a heads up like, "Hey, I'm going to be at the BET Awards." And then, lo and behold, here he is. Because again, like I said, there's no way homegirl, okay, with the pantsuit sans jacket, she got a three-piece suit, pantsuit going on here without the jacket. All right. She got the vest on. She got the slacks. All right. There ain't no way she just went out of just go, "Oh, thank God I have my bullhorn here. Who would have thought?" You know what I'm saying? So he must have given them some sort of heads up. You know what I want to see too is they might as well go and unmask the guy holding the bullhorn and protecting Jake Lang. Might as well unmask that mother lover. Who's out here trying to protect this dude? Not enough. There's not enough money in the world for me to be like, "Well, I got bills to pay. I got mouths to feed. Who go feed little Tim? Who gonna feed my little Timmy? I guess I gotta wear this mask and protect this piece of trash," right? Okay. So yeah. So you see that. Okay. Man, I just wish we all could just get along to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be real. This dude, he don't want what's coming to him. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. He does not want what's about to come to him. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he don't want this. You understand, right? He don't want this, but it's coming. It's coming. All right. Whether he likes it or not, it's coming. It's going to be when he least expects it. Man, this dude has showed up like dry humping goats. I'm not kidding. Dry humping goats. Okay. In rentals and like U-Haul vans. Okay. Like this guy's a piece of work. He tried to run for office. He wrapped an RV with MAGA and Trump all over it. He tried to use the death of Austin Metcalf for his own, for his own political gain. He's like, we're going to get together. We're going to rally, protect white Americans, I think was the whole rally. 17 people showed up. All right. Even the man with the good foot sitting in the wheelchair with the good foot. Remember that guy? Yeah. He even showed up to that rally as well. Okay, the dude with the good foot. He was clearly scooting his way around town using only his good foot in his wheelchair. All right? Like, it's weird the stuff that this guy has done. This guy right there with the bulletproof vest that probably doesn't even have plates in it. Just so you know. I'm thinking he's cosplaying with the bulletproof vest. I don't even think that's bulletproof. Okay, I think he just bought the cloth. It's a costume. He's looking like he's got protection, but he don't. But like I said, this other dude right here, okay, with the USA, the what? USA hat and the face mask. All right, looking like he should be like in a weird MAGA S&M sex dungeon. You know what I'm saying? You see what you see what I'm saying? The safety word is obliterated. You know? You don't get that. You don't get that vibe. Whips and chains made out of the American flag or painted the American flag. Nobody. Nobody. Okay. I could go further, but I'm not, I'm not going to. But the safety word. Obliterated, Big Mac. Huge. Yeah. Huge. Right? But anyway, that dude, somebody should have just taken the mask off. Expose his ass for the piece of trash that he is. Okay? I ain't got time. Nobody has time for this crap. Nobody does. And here's the thing. He's already been out here saying all kinds of stuff with the Carmelo Anthony stuff, saying all types of crazy stuff online about what he would do to Carmelo Anthony, blah, blah, blah. And of course, he comes out to the BET Awards and he puts up this sign. You don't think that people are going to get triggered off of that? Just saying. It's sloppy work, in my opinion. Sloppy work. And we should be better. We should definitely be better. Hold on. Oh, Lord have mercy. Man, shoot. We might as well watch a little bit more, shall we? There are more angles. So let's just take a look. Let's just take a look. Just a quick gander. Just a quick gander, love, and then we have to move on to the other subjects. Okay? And I wonder, is he utilizing his safety words right now? You know? Shouldn't he be doing that? Maybe the safety words Melania. Melania, you know? Or maybe Caroline. You know? Let's continue. They basically are running this guy out. You know what I'm saying? There's more. Hold on. There's more. They literally are running this man out. Take a look.
Bitch, you got me out of here! Bye-bye! Skedaddle! Skedaddle!
Okay, you guys get the idea. But you know what I'm thinking? Something I'm thinking about, you know, when it comes to this piece of trash right here. Imagine if he showed up to another event and everyone just ignored him. Think about that for a second. Imagine if he showed up to like a slew of events, all right? A gang of them. And everyone had the same, everyone did the same thing, which is just ignore him. He's standing up there holding up, you know, black parents are failures and all that crap, right? What would happen if no one reacted? Absolutely no one. They just acted like he didn't even exist, that he wasn't even there. What would the reaction be then? Think about that for a second. I mean, it's very hard. It would be very hard to like ignore these kinds of stunts. Especially, I mean, you're sitting there like, especially if you grew up with black parents and your parents were the bomb. You know what I'm saying? I'd be pissed off. Period. Regardless, it's still racist remarks. But I will say, I had great parents. They both black. They were fantastic. And I'm the bomb. Okay? I'm the bomb.com shiznai mother lover. Yeah. Okay? All right? Okay? Okay, I'm the bomb. Okay, and I had great parents. My parents were the bomb, baby. All right, so, again, stuff like this, some people would feel, understandably, it's a visceral reaction. Very emotional, knee-jerk, visceral reaction. Especially when you got this guy who's just this he's like a gnat. You know what I mean? You think you squashed it, but no, he just keeps coming back. Just keeps coming back. You're like this mother-loving gnat, and then it multiplies. It just keeps on multiplying, right? I feel like the only way he would ever stop is if everybody looked the other way. I'm telling you right now, there is no way he's got a job. There is no way on God's green earth he has a job. If he did, people would be showing up to his job trying to get his ass fired. I'm just being real. No job would want to keep him as an employee after these kinds of stunts. So somebody out there is funding his stunts. Somebody out there is funding his BS. It may not be a whole lot of money, because clearly he's still wearing the same stuff that we see him wear at other places. But he making something. He making some sort of kind of bread. And whoever's helping him with this kind of bread, they're laughing. They're enjoying every minute of this. Hold on. We got to see the rest of this. It's just 2 more clips where they're running him off. I will tell you this man right here with the ponytail most definitely ain't black. Last I checked. Okay. Just saying. And what about him and what he did at J6? That wasn't considered violence as well? And he what? So what's up with that? Running him off. See, now he's going into his ride, or the truck that he got into. Okay, and here it is. Looks like he Looks like he's finally like taking off here. Let's take a look.
He running! He running! He
Oh.
running! He's running! He's running! He running!
I want to make this abundantly clear also. He said that he got a glass bottle cracked over his head. I don't see any of that here. They ran him out. Okay. They ran him out. But okay.
He's running! He's running!
And then, of course, they gave him back. They threw the sign back at him, and he was able to get his sign back, or at least one of his signs back. Oh, my God. Anyway, again, you know, as you guys already know, he's trash. Okay. Oh, actually, wow. He showed up. This is the beginning of it. Take a look at this. This is the beginning of it. All right.
Crusaders! Stand down against this violent culture! Cameraman, you getting in?
Wow, look at that. That's insane. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. And who driving him? Who's driving him? Wow.
Go slow enough that he can follow us. Black culture is violent. Black culture is violent. The BET Awards is the celebration of a broken culture that is godless. We will not stand and watch our black brothers in America descend into degeneracy. We are here today to call them out. Lift up your communities. Be better. Rap culture and thug culture is not the way to go.
By the way, this stuff costs money. Okay? This stuff costs money. You got a big old sign, digital sign that he's driving around in with this truck. Big old digital sign on both sides. Like he really, really wanted to get this word out so bad. He's saying thug culture is un-American. That's what he's literally putting that he has on one of these digital signs. Have mercy.
Find Christ. The BET Awards is degeneracy. The BET Awards is the celebration of rap. Black parents, do better. Absent fathers, do better. Jesus Christ, heal the black community. Stamp out this BET Award garbage.
Oh, man. Well, so there it is, guys. I think that's enough. I think that's enough racism and BS for the day. But yeah, this is just insane. Another stunt that's being done that I truly think is funded by somebody. Who that could be, I don't know. And I'm not even going to waste my time trying to, it's such and such. Nah, I don't know who it is. But there's no way he could be doing all of this off of the money that he makes off of like Twitter or something like that. Okay? It's not enough. There's no way that he's able to fly all over the country, do all these stunts without having some sort of funding. Just saying. Okay? Yeah, maybe it is Stephen Miller, Sorcerer. Maybe it is. Okay? Can you show the driver again? I must believe my lying eyes. Yeah, which is weird. The driver, who the hell, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell's that? Okay. What the hell's that? Right? But again, very, very weird. Very, very weird. Very, very interesting. Okay. So, again, there's that. I am kind of curious. I am very, very curious about who is actually funding this piece of trash. And he just keeps going. He keeps showing up. My thing is, though, I'd really, really love to see a moment where would love to see a moment where no one's paying attention to him. They're all turning a blind eye to his crap. They're not listening to any of the crap that he's talking about or anything like that. That's what I'd really like to see, because that's the only way we're going to get that type of negativity, that type of racism, that type of bigotry out of here. He gets more, the more the angry mob gets more angry, the stronger he will get. Okay? Just so you know. Okay? So, just saying that. Now, we got to continue. There's more to talk about. Let's talk about this really quick. Luigi Mangione is going to trial in January, guys. So it's not going to be a very long wait. Before you know it, it'll be January, y'all. 2027 is when he's going to be back in court. So he was back in court on Monday. This time to learn when his federal trial was going to start. And he's got about 6 months to prepare. So Judge Garnett told the court a November start date isn't going to work, given jury selection. So instead, the trial was pushed to January. All right. Meaning Luigi Mangione, his federal case won't kick off until 2027. But like I said, 6 months is going to be like that. A blink of an eye, it'll be January, and we'll be reading transcripts to find out his fate, right? He's in trouble. He's cooked. It's a wrap. We just want to find out how long he going to be locked up for, right? The judge announced jury selection will start January 5th, calling in about 40 to 50 people per day. Opening statements will begin on January 25th. Assistant United States Attorney Gentile moved to exclude a speedy trial. In his federal case, he's facing several counts of stalking after allegedly gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, like we already know, in 2024. He was initially indicted for M charges and weapon charges as well, but the judge dropped them earlier this year, taking the DP off the table. So he's pleaded guilty to his federal charges, he's pleaded not guilty, my bad. He pleaded not guilty to his federal charges. He is still charged in state court with second-degree murder and weapons charges. So his state trial in New York is slated for September 8th. So again, like I said, this is going to blink of an eye. He's got his state trial that's happening in the fall. And then immediately after that, a few months later, boom, he's going to be in trial, federal court for those charges and taking the life. Okay? So here's the thing. Let me get this correct. So state court has charged him with second-degree murder and weapons charges. So that whole thing is going to be going on September 8th. In January, he's facing, in the federal case, he's facing several counts of stalking after allegedly gunning down the CEO, Brian Thompson. So that's very interesting. All right. So again, we'll see what happens. I find it weird that it's second degree M. I find that weird. He plotted this out. He put together a weapon, and then he killed Brian Thompson. Whether you agree with it or not, he took that man's life. And it's still second degree M? I don't know. I don't know about that, y'all, but okay. We'll see what happens. when the trial gets on and popping. Here's another thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because this is terrible. In fact, let me make sure I have the video here too. I want to share this one, y'all, because this is just absolutely nuts. Real quick. Hold on. Like, this is just crazy. Hold on. Yeah, I definitely feel like there should be more awareness on this particular topic, in this particular situation, because this is just absolutely terrible. So hold on, I just want to make sure I have the article, the right articles. It just popped in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, we definitely need to talk about this. Okay, now this is just absolutely nuts. Okay, there is a 10-year-old that is facing first-degree murder charges in St. Louis for taking the life, for pew-pewing a 7-month-old baby. Let me repeat that. Let that sink in for a second. A 10-year-old is facing first-degree M charges for pulling the trigger on a 7-month-old baby. Has that sunk in yet? Hopefully it has. 10-year-old kid found a pew-pew and then pew-pewed a 7-month-old baby. And this is happening in St. Louis. Let's take a look at this. This is pretty insane, if you ask me. 10-year-old boy is facing M charges for shooting a 7-month-old baby girl, taking her life with a gun that he found under a mattress. So the boy, who, due to his age, cannot be named, okay, or has not been named, I'm sure his name will leak at some point, took the life of Kayomi Pawnell Parker, okay? In the head. He pulled the trigger to the head on Saturday afternoon inside a home in St. Louis, Missouri. All right? Officers rushed Kiyomi to a nearby hospital in their police cruiser, but the doctors were unable to save her. The boy was taken into custody and charged with first-degree M. Kiyomi's 19-year-old father, Kamarion Pawnell, was also arrested and charged with second-degree M, first-degree child endangerment, resulting in death, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child by creating substantial risk. So, the father told police that he owned the gun and had stored it under his mattress in a bedroom at the home, according to a probable cause statement obtained by the news. Look at that beautiful girl. Oh, that's a shame. Okay? Hold on. Who's this? Mimi. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm done with you after 4 years. After 4 years, member, and over donations, Carmela, your boy is a damn murderer. Get over the shove. Okay. Okay, Mimi. Thank you so much for your support. But clearly you were not listening. And why are we talking about that now? We're not even talking about Carmela right now. We're not even talking about that. Like, we're not. But thank you so much for letting me know. I'm sorry that you are leaving and not understanding what I said. And there was many shows where I explained myself. But hey, if you listen, let me get my screen big. Here it is. If you feel that type of way, you're fully allowed to have your feelings. But clearly you were not listening to me. I will say that. Clearly you were not listening to me. Because if you were listening to me, you would not send that super chat. But this is the sad part. Everyone has their opinions. Everyone has their thoughts. Just like you're allowed to. You're more than welcome to leave. Show's still going to keep on ticking. All right? But I will say this. You weren't listening to me. But I appreciate the super chat and letting me know. Your 4 years were definitely very appreciated here. Hopefully you come back sometime soon. If not, it's okay. But thank you for not listening. Because you didn't. Not in the Carmelo one. So moving on. Back to the story at hand. Hopefully you guys are hearing me. Is this mic on? Is this mic on? Okay. Hopefully this mic is on. Listen to what I'm saying. But this is a damn shame, this situation here. A completely different case than I'm giving you guys right now. All right, about a 10-year-old. Not Carmelo. A 10-year-old. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So the 10-year-old knew where the gun was stored and told police he had taken it out to play with it before, the charging document said. He also admitted to taking the life of Kayomi. He also admitted to pulling the trigger to her head. Officers said in the affidavit, a 7-year-old child was also at the home during this deadly shooting. Okay? Officers have not revealed the relationship between Parnell, who is being held without bond, and the other 2 children. Kayomi's heartbroken mother, Janilla Parker, has launched a GoFundMe campaign in effort to raise money for the funeral and other related expenses. At just 19 years old, I never imagined I would be planning my 7-month-old daughter's funeral instead of watching her grow, she wrote. My precious baby, Kayomi, was taken from me far too soon due to a senseless act of gun violence. No parent should ever have to experience this kind of heartbreak. I agree 100%. And here's the dad. Here's the dad with the weapon, who had the weapon under a mattress, which, by the way, the 10-year-old boy said he's played with that gun before. I don't know how many times we talk about like gun violence in general, but this kind of stuff really bothers me. Okay, there's plenty of ways you can protect your family or the little ones that might be running around if you actually have a firearm in your home. It's called getting a lock. It's called putting it in a box, a lock box of some sort. There are things you can do where you don't have these types of accidents, these types of tragedies. This kid is also literally getting hit with first-degree M. So I don't know what actually happened here, right? We don't know the full scope of what happened here, but clearly this kid may have thought it was I don't know. He's 10, but I don't know. May have thought that this was a toy, aimed it at the little girl, pulled the trigger only to find out that it was a real gun. I don't know. But this is some really jacked up stuff. And how many times are we going to have these kinds of stories come out of areas that are maybe impoverished or low income areas, so on and so forth? And it's not just Black communities. We hear these kinds of cases or hear these kinds of accidents, these tragedies happen in low income areas everywhere. Okay? Because people can't think of, oh, let me make sure I lock that up. Let me make sure I put it high up somewhere in a box, in a lockbox, so that a kid doesn't get their hands on it and start blasting. Period. She described the death of her daughter as an unimaginable loss and thanked those who donate for helping me give my beautiful baby the farewell she deserves. Parnell was a graduate of East St. Louis High in Illinois and was preparing to attend college. So he got brains too. He was preparing to attend college. His grieving sister revealed on social media. So he's got brains, but apparently he wasn't using them that day. The teen's family are heartbroken over the loss of Kiyomi and claim that Parnell is also devastated by the tragedy. The shooting remains under investigation by homicide detectives and child abuse investigators. Again, guys, like this story we've heard this story way too often, right? And sometimes it's the other way, where it's the kid takes the weapon and then he runs off into a school and he starts blasting, right? Or he goes and he takes that weapon and he goes into his bedroom and he starts playing with it and then it goes off and the little kid goes bye-bye. You know what I mean? Then you lose the kid as well. So again, why? Okay? Why? Constantly we hear these problems over and over and over again. Guys, get you a lockbox. Get you a lock for the weapon or something of that sort. Like literally, danger isn't running to your front door every night. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Some people want to be able to quick draw, but there's ways to doing certain things so that it is safe, especially if you're not in that room where that weapon is. Get a lockbox, get a gun lock, whatever it may be, and keep it away from your kids because it's definitely not a toy. And now you got a 10-year-old kid facing first-degree M charges right now because he wasn't raised right. Right there. He wasn't taught right at all. Definitely not taught right. Okay? Dude going to college, or was. Dude was on his way to go to college. So he has brains, but clearly was not thinking about safety with these kids. See, that's the problem. Like I said, we see this all over the place. Okay, remember the Crumblies? Remember the Crumblies? Remember the Crumblies? Remember Ethan Crumbley? They were having those guns all over the place. They were just sitting on coffee tables and in their bedroom and in the kitchen and all that. Just laying out, just chilling. And what ended up happening? What did Ethan Crumbley end up doing? Exactly. Okay? Because the stuff was just out there. He was able to just grab one, put it in his bag, and walk, go right off to school and cause some tragedies. We got to be smarter with this stuff, y'all. Okay? We got to be smarter than that. Get a lock. Get a gun lock. Or one of those ones that's like, super high tech where you can put your, thumbprint on it and it opens only to your thumbprint or something like that. You see what I'm saying? You can still have it somewhere in the room. Just keep it out of reach from children. I mean, it's just ridiculous, typical stuff. Very common sense type of stuff. Okay. Renee, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. All the way from Australia. Yay, you caught alive. Yay! You caught alive. But like I said, there's got to be better out here. There's definitely got to be better. We got to start using our brain cells. And it just seems like because of AI, we ain't even thinking anymore. We don't even need to think for ourselves anymore because of AI. Okay? Because of AI, we don't even need to think anymore, y'all. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, I digress. So we got to get into the conversation because I can't be on for super long. Actually, let me play this real quick for you guys.
Charged with first-degree murder by the juvenile courts after he shot and killed a 7-month-old.
St. Louis police fanned out in a North City neighborhood in response to a heartbreaking situation. A 7-month-old baby is dead after a shooting this afternoon. First Alert 4's Casey Zanowick has been following this story for hours now. She spoke to community leaders about what they believe needs to be done to protect children in St. Louis.
We have watched too much go on for too long. We've got to wise up.
It's the type of situation that's devastating to see.
There are certain types of calls that no officer ever wants to get, and the District 6 officers got that call tonight.
It happened here on
No, Renee, thank you so much for the super chat again. A 10-year-old preparing for college. Am I missing something? No. So the dad, the biological father of this 10-year-old kid, he actually also got charged as well. He's also held up in a jail right now because that weapon was actually his. So he fessed up and he said, yeah, that weapon is mine. And I stuffed it under the mattress of my home, where this 10-year-old found this weapon and then turned it to Kiyomi and then pulled the trigger. So he's catching charges as well. Okay? So they are blaming the parents, or at least they're blaming the father of they're blaming the father of Kiyomi, just so you know.
North Broadway in North City around 4 this afternoon, when officers say they were called for reports of a shooting. But when police arrived, they say they found a 7-month-old baby girl with a gunshot wound. Officers then rushed the baby to the hospital, where she sadly later died.
Ain't no way in the world that we supposed to be talking about a baby dead, man, with a gunshot. This is unacceptable.
Lisa Lagrone is the founder of Safe Streets, Safe Neighborhoods. She was shocked to hear what had happened.
My first reaction was I pulled over to get my mind together, to even thinking about a baby, an infant being shot.
To her, this type of violence and how often it occurs is unacceptable.
We have got to take accountability for this, man. We just can't let, you got to know where your guns at. We got to know if our kids got guns and we know they got guns. We got to make them accountable, man. We have got to quit turning our backs on this.
At some point.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree with what she's saying. People need to be smarter nowadays. And yes, Virginia, we're just babies having babies. Okay? Especially mentally now. Think about that. Think about how mentally mature our new generations are. And I know that's going to make me sound like, oh, all right, Unc. You're going to be like, all right, Unc. Okay, Unc. But it's true. This is going to make me sound, oh, fine. I don't care. We live in a time right now where kids aren't really processing things the way that they should be. Comprehension is just completely down more than you ever before. And I'm talking about universally. Common sense is it's just out the window. Like I said, people are using AI to think about what they're going to eat for dinner. They're using AI for things that they could literally do their doggone selves if they actually just took 2 seconds to think for their own selves. This is the world that we live in. You got a 19-year-old kid having a baby, 7-month-old baby girl, and he didn't even have the thought to take that weapon and put it somewhere where those kids couldn't reach it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. But this story, it's a tale as old as time. I'm telling you right now, we hear this stuff all the time. This is just a new one because right now we're hearing it's a 10-year-old that pulled the trigger on a 7-month-old. It's not the 7-month-old finding it, playing with it, and it going off. A 10-year-old did this. You see what I'm saying? And the 10-year-old has played with that weapon before. Common sense is gone, baby. These damn kids having kids, and these kids aren't even thinking as like adults, but they want to be adults. They want to be out here bumping uglies and making kids like adults, but they're not using their brains like adults. It's sad, y'all. It's sad. I know. I sound like Unc. I get it, okay? But at the same time, this is the world that we're living in now. This is the reality. Let's continue.
We've got to say it has to stop.
James Clark is with the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. For him, the next steps to prevent these tragedies is clear.
Situations are in the neighborhoods and they're within the household. We've got to start going into the household now.
All I can do is cry for us and hope that we can learn some lessons. But we shouldn't have to learn a lesson from a child.
This is the
we shouldn't even have to learn any lessons. Period. We shouldn't have to have a lesson taught. Common sense should already come into play in this whole situation. You understand? We should already know this ish. Oh, if a child gets their hands on a pew-pew and it has a live round in it, like it's hot, or it just has a live round in this mother lover? Come on now. What do you think's going to happen? Grown-ass man that's making grown-ass decisions by having children? So if you already know how babies are created, you clearly have enough common sense to know that if a real weapon goes bang, bang, it could hurt somebody, maybe even erase that person from this planet, especially a baby girl. We should already know this. We don't need all this extra, you know what I'm saying? We don't need all this extra stuff. We don't need these lessons. We've been known since the discovery or the invention of the mother-loving weapon, of the gun. We already know what it does. We already know the consequences if you point it towards somebody and pull that actual trigger. So we don't need these stories, man. Come on, we don't. We all know what those weapons do and what they're capable of doing. So why are we treating them like they're nothing?
26th juvenile to be shot in the city just this year. And it comes just a few days after a 15-year-old was shot and killed near Forest Park. SLMPD tells us they're actively investigating both these incidents. We'll keep you updated as we learn more on our website at firstalert4.com.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. But like I said, I wanted to share this with you guys so that you guys could see this story, because I feel like this is a story that needs to be talked about, that needs to be out here, because you got a 10-year-old, y'all. His life is pretty much over now. A 10-year-old. And we don't know if he did this maliciously or not, but he's getting charged as if he did this maliciously. But nonetheless, his life is over now. Absolutely over. Absolutely over. Because he decided to get his hands on that weapon. But his life is also over because the dad, who should have been keeping an eye on these kids, left something out that he shouldn't have left out in the first doggone place. It's a damn shame. All right. So that's over. We're done with that. Okay. We're done with that. Fly Gal, thank you so much for the love and being a member for the past 26 months. Good evening to you too. And thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really, really do. Okay. Hopefully you guys heard that. What I just talked about. Selective outrage is real. I will say that. Selective outrage is real. But that is absolutely insane. Okay. But that is a true story that's happening right now. We got to look to the parents, y'all. We got to look to the parents. It's just insane and sad. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so we got to go into the Nancy Guthrie stuff. Okay. Yeah, we got to go into this Nancy Guthrie conversation. All right, so we're going back we're going back into the conversation. Wait, hold on. Emily Park. Hold on. Emily P, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Dad is 19, kid is 10. Math ain't mathin'. So I think that the kid was somebody else's kid, okay? It was somebody else's kid that was at the house. They have not said if the kids were all related or not. The father of Kiyomi, the 7-month-old baby girl, he is the father of the 19-year-old guy that went to jail and is getting charged as well. He has been charged because that gun was his. So they apparently were at Kiyomi's dad's house, and this 10-year-old was there too. And this 10-year-old apparently has been there before. I don't know if they are an extended family member, like a relative of some sort. They don't really give us much information. I'm sure if we did a deep dive into Facebook, I'm sure that somebody related to the family would be like, yeah, that's her cousin, or that's her, or this, that, and the third, right? So, but he was still over there hanging out with the family. There were a couple other kids there too. And then he found that weapon under the mattress and then pulled the trigger on baby girl. That weapon and Kiyomi, the father of Kiyomi, that was his gun. So there it is. Pretty sad stuff. But we got to get into Nancy Guthrie stuff, okay? We definitely do. And again, I'm curious about a few things, all right? So TMZ has been talking about some things, so we're going to take a look at that as well. So let's take a look at all that. And then, and they're saying the title of this is, breaking FBI is closing in on suspect in Nancy Guthrie case. I'm assuming they're closing in on the person that actually wrote these ransom notes to TMZ, okay? And I get it. They in this video, they're like, I don't understand why they're so concerned or so, focused on trying to zero in on this particular suspect. And I'm like, no, it makes total sense. I get why they're zeroing in on this particular suspect, because you never know. You never know. But they should be zeroing in on every other person that has ever written a ransom note to the Guthrie family, to the FBI, or even to news outlets like TMZ. They should be zeroing in on all of them, period. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But let's take a look and take a listen to TMZ. Hear what they got to say. I sped it up a little bit. Let's rock and roll.
We have received another email from the man claiming that he knows who the kidnappers are in the Nancy Guthrie case, and he has given more detail than ever as to what information he will provide in return for 1 Bitcoin.
And he's provided the kind of information. He's basically described where this information can be found if he gets this Bitcoin. We've said this before, that every time we get another one of these,
From the same guy,
and we always can authenticate it's the same guy because he's using the Bitcoin address, the same Bitcoin address, which we've never, ever published anywhere. So that's the only place.
It is the same guy. So look, he says a bunch of things. We're going to give you the highlights. Number one, he says that I am not the idiot who recently called in a tip about her burial site in Mexico. Only 2 are directly involved, and I doubt they would be the ones calling to snitch on themselves.
So his point being, those 2 people who are involved, they're not going to put that tip there. They're the only ones who actually know where Nancy Nancy's body can be found.
So he's saying he is not the person who sent in that recent tip. However, I will tell you that several emails ago, he said that she was taken to Mexico. And he also said there were multiple kidnappers and a main kidnapper here. This is the first time he said the number 2.
Right.
So we now know there are 2 if he's to be believed at all. And believe me, we're going to get into that. So he says this. He says, I have a phone stashed in a secure location, guaranteeing both the information it stores and the safety of the phone. What it contains is my definition of delivering on a silver platter. So he's saying he has a phone with information. He goes on to say that he says that there is, quote, a short video of the main guy with Nancy the day that was probably her last. And that's critical. I mean, he's now saying, I have a short video, and it will show you not just Nancy, but her main kidnapper. And
that image is obviously priceless, especially to the FBI and especially to Savannah and her family.
Not priceless to him. He has a price, and the price is 1 Bitcoin. So he is saying that if he gets 1 Bitcoin, he will lead authorities to where this phone is. It is currently, he says, turned off, that it is in a secure location, but in a place that is easy to access once you know where to look. And he will supply the password, and he is asking for 1 Bitcoin.
Now, what's also interesting is that he clearly has been keeping up on the news, is responding because we talked about it this week. But he says that these kidnappers are onto him, that he has basically been on the run from them. And he's very much concerned for his own safety at this point.
So, look, we have obviously forwarded this like we did the others to the FBI, and they have acknowledged receiving it, and they are looking into it. I spoke with somebody from the FBI a couple of days ago who said, and this really surprised me because they had gone radio silent on us about this guy for about a month, but they called me back a couple of days ago and said that they had a lead on who this person might be, and that they did not want us to do a documentary or anything like that, because we had even offered, look, maybe we'll pay the Bitcoin, do a documentary, see where it leads, and obviously work with you. They told us, stand down, we're working on that right now.
We're working on it, and that they felt that they were getting closer to this person.
So, look, it is really confusing, because on the one hand, they seem to have spent a lot of time trying to find this person. On the other hand, a Bitcoin is worth about $60,000.
I think less than that now, but yeah.
A little less.
Yeah.
And so why not roll the dice? And so we put a social media post out, because he seems to be watching all this stuff, and said, look, we don't know if you're a fraudster or not. Give us something, a screen grab of Nancy Guthrie.
And this is how you know that he is watching all of this, because within an hour of that post going up on social media, he sent another email explaining that he is not going to do that. And the reason he's not going to do that, send a screen grab or take any photo, said, I don't want to go to the phone. If I turn it on and I take a photo, or there's metadata that comes along with that photo. If I give you a screen grab of the image that's actually on the phone, there's metadata that's involved there. So anything that I send you like that can be traced.
So we don't know. I mean, look, we don't know. The thing is, we can't get in touch with this guy directly. His emails don't work. And I know that.
So here's the thing. I'm reading your comments here. Melinda just said they are for sure driving clicks to their website for this. I think they're making crap up at this point. Wow. I mean, really? Here's the thing. I mean, I think one part of this is, too, I think that this is a very slow news day. I will say that. I think today was a very slow news day. You know, yes, there were some things going on with SCOTUS and Trump's got to pay off, you know, the SA claims. He has to pay like millions and millions of dollars to that accuser. Because of course he was found liable. He has to pay crap tons of money, right? But outside of that and a few other things like mail-in voting, all right, just a little political talk really quick. Mail-in voting is still okay. They can still do mail-in voting. And he was very upset about that information as well, all right? So aside from that, it hasn't really been that big of a news day. There hasn't really been a whole lot of news conversation today, right? So I think that they're doing a filler. It's a filler. They talk about, you know, the FBI is closing in on this particular suspect, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like I've heard that before in the past, too. You know? Here's the other thing, too. If TMZ had the absolute audacity to fake this, do you realize how much trouble they would be in? Do you see how? Do you realize and can you imagine how many lawsuits will be just knocking at their door? Let alone the charges that they could be facing for creating a fugazi like this? This would be bad. And then, of course, let's not forget their whole reputation as a, let's just say, credible source. Now, I'll just do that in air quotes, would go out the window. Would absolutely go out the window. It'd be the end of the world as we know it for TMZ if they made this stuff up. Just saying those things out loud. So I get it. I understand, Melinda. I'm not like coming at you. There's a lot of people that are thinking that same thing. Like, oh, TMZ's probably making this crap up. And I've thought about it. That I ruminated. I let it marinate in my mind. You know what I mean? Waxing possibilities, right, of them actually creating all of this for the sake of some content and still staying relevant in this case. And after thinking about it, I'm like, nah, they would absolutely be destroyed. Okay? They would be absolutely destroyed financially, legally, etc. So I believe that they are receiving these emails from somebody. Who it is, God only knows. There are people who have their theories out there, but there's no proof. But they say they're zeroing in on somebody. We'll find out on what they're talking about. Let's continue, though.
The FBI has tried as well, and as far as we know, they've not been able to crack that. So it would seem that if the FBI really wanted to pay that, the only way they can do it is if they called us and said, "Look,"
they could put. They have the Bitcoin.
They have the Bitcoin. Well, they have the Bitcoin because he gave us a new Bitcoin address,
yes.
But we sent him the email with that.
Right.
So they
have it, and they could put the money in.
But then who's he going to contact?
What do you mean?
Who's he going to send the information to?
You can do the same thing. You can send an anonymous email
to.
Well, it would have to come. I mean, the FBI. Does the FBI have an anonymous tip line?
I don't know.
They must. The FBI has an anonymous tip line.
So I don't know.
So you could send it either to the FBI or to us.
Yeah, I don't know where he would. And again, this is what's so puzzling that the family was willing to pay $1 million, and the ransom demand was $4 million and then $6 million. And this is $60,000, and the fact that they're not paying really makes you question the authenticity of this guy.
Right.
On the other hand, why is the FBI spending so much time trying to figure out who this guy is?
Do you want to know why they're spending all this time? See, I don't understand why he's asking that question. I don't know about you, but I'd want to bring him in as quickly as possible. If I could get my hands on another person who's saying, "Oh yeah, I got a camera, I got a phone filled with all these images of the bad guys and Nancy on the presumably the last day she was ever alive on this planet with the main kidnapper and all that. I got all this information on this phone, addresses, ages, names, faces, and Nancy Guthrie alive in the clutches of these monsters." That's a lot of claims. That's a lot of things. There's a lot of revelations to put out there. You don't think the FBI would want to even just entertain that possibility? What if this person is telling the truth? I don't think they're telling the truth. Let me keep it real. I don't think they're telling the truth at all. But I'm just saying, if they were to tell the truth, you know what I mean? They would have to do their due diligence, y'all. They would have to do their due diligence. It'd be lazy and very lackadaisical. Very idiotic. Ignorant of FBI for them not to chase down this possible lead. They need to chase down every lead because you never know. This guy could be telling the truth. Could be. Or he could just be lying for the sake of scooping a bag. $60,000? I guess. I don't know. Okay. But we'll see. Let's continue.
So honestly, we just don't know. We're telling you what we know, but we cannot close the loop on this thing.
Hi, Jordan from Kansas. You know, what stands out to me is Nancy Guthrie has been missing for over 4 months. And now this guy wants to come forward and say, hey, for 1 Bitcoin, I can get you to that phone. I have video evidence of it. It just sounds like a cat and mouse game, and it sounds like he's a fraudster.
Maybe.
I agree with this guy. I agree with him. I think that this is a fugazi. But at the same time, Maybe they're saying exactly what needs to be said. Maybe they're saying the truth, but I don't think they are. I really don't. But chase them down. Knock that one possibility out the window, check that off the list. You see what I'm saying? Like, just check it off the list. Just check it off the list really quick so we can move the F on, so that if they keep sending more emails and notes to TMZ, we can go, oh, okay, it's another BS email from the same dude. Actually, they wouldn't be sending anything because he'd be locked up right now, facing charges.
Yeah, maybe that's what the FBI is thinking also. Maybe, but
then why are they trying to find him so much?
Right.
And why are they telling us, no, don't do that. We're in the middle of it. So that.
Because they don't want you in the middle of it. They don't want you to create content and documentaries off of this. Okay? Period. That's why they're doing this. Guys, come on. Come on now. This is exactly the reason why when they said, oh, we'll just spend the money and we'll just use that as content for our documentary. What do you think the FBI is going to do? They're not going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, you're going to make a documentary? Make sure you shoot my good side. This is my good side, okay? All right? And can I say a special shout out to my mama? Is that okay during the interview? Can I say it like, hi, mama, I'm on TV. Hey, mama, I made it. I made it, mama. No. They're going to sit there and go, oh, nope. Sorry, sir. No, we don't need cameras all up in our wazoo, finding out exactly what we're doing the entire doggone time for content. Sorry, thank you, sir. But no, you can sit back. Let us do our work. Let us do our due diligence. Let us focus on trying to find her, not how can we concoct this or, put this together in a tangible and digestible documentary for our viewers. So of course they're gonna be like, yeah, you step back. We over here. You stay right there. We over here. And when we get something, y'all will all find out at the same time. And y'all can make that as news. Done.
That's what's so confusing.
It's not that confusing. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's common sense to me. It's common sense to me. Maybe to other people that are going to be like, yeah, it don't make not much sense. I don't understand why they not just want to team up with TMZ and just put it all together and stuff. See, if FBI does not want to be in a documentary, maybe Cash Patel. Maybe he would, because he does like the camera. But I'm saying, like, other FBI, they're probably like, no, we got to do our part. We got to focus on getting this, finding her and getting her home as soon as possible. That is it. Period. Period. Okay? Period. So, I digress. We must continue. Okay, we're going to be going over to Brian Enton, because he has a few things. Now, for those of y'all who are asking still, all right, I moved to a new space. I have a new this is my new space, all right, which is really dope, and I'm very, very excited about it, okay? And it's yay. It's very yay. I'm very excited. Very much excited, okay? And so, yeah, what you see here, this area right now, I am building it out, okay? I'm in the middle, probably in like, if everything goes according to plan, in the next 2 weeks, we will be building a whole wall and all that. It's going to be, it's going to be so nice. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice, and I'm very, very excited about it, okay? So you're going to be seeing this for a minute, okay? This is going to be, how ugly it is, it's just going to be what it is for a little bit, okay? But I am raising a tiny bit of money. I could use a little bit of help so I can finish out what I want to do with this wall, okay? Or, with this space here, okay, behind me. So, yeah, and I'm very excited. Very, very excited. It's a really, really nice spot, really nice space, and there's going to be there's so much more space. There's so much more room. It's awesome. I can't wait, okay? Yeah, and I missed the purple lights, but this time, we'll be able to do more than just purple lights, everybody. It's going to be fun. So here's the thing. I am raising a little bit of money. I do have a GoFundMe, all right, going on. In fact, let me just get that going real quick and put that in the chat. I do have a GoFundMe on and popping. If you're, yeah, Alante. Yeah. And that's exactly what the plan is. Okay. So, here's the thing. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Wrong thing. 1 second, guys. What the heck? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm putting it in the chat. Boom. Okay, so, whoops. So, I'm going to pin it to the bottom of the chat. So, I do have this GoFundMe going on right now as we speak, okay? We're 38%, which is amazing. We're at 38%. I only shared it with you guys, I think, the day before yesterday, right? And you guys were so amazing. I'm only raising $1,000. It's nothing crazy. Like, it's not like some crazy amount or anything like that. I'm literally just trying to build the wall and be able to put some, electrical outlets in here and all that. Okay. And so those things cost money. And then of course it's the time for the construction people, blah, 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 to do what they're doing. And of course I'll be sharing all that too I'll be sharing that. There'll be a lot of behind the scenes of building the wall and all that too. You know what I mean? I'll be sharing that with you guys because, I like to show you guys what's going on, as best as I can. So, Alante, one day a live show would be dope. One day, I would love to have that happen. One day it'll happen. Okay. But like I said, just the other day, I shared this with you guys, but then, I wasn't on yesterday. I took the time off to, spend some birthday time with family and all that. Okay. But again, yeah, it's pretty amazing. In just one day, we've already raised over $375, which is dope. Right. So again, I could really use your help trying to get to 1,000. All right. That's it. If you can help and you can contribute, a little bit goes a very, very long way. I'd really appreciate it. If you can't, it's okay too. All right. If you can't, that's totally okay. But I did pin it to the bottom of the chat on YouTube. Check it out if you can. Donate if you can. And yeah, I mean, the sooner we get to that number, the sooner we can get to construction. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll get a studio tour and everything when it's done. And the way I have it mapped out, it's going to be beautiful. Okay. Lauren, thank you so much for the super sticker or the super chat. Thank you so much. But yeah, so there's some things that we have planned here, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Like I said, there's a lot more space, so there's a lot more room to play, which I'm really, really excited about. But like I said, what I'm building is just what's going on right behind me. There's a whole lot of other space on the other side, of this camera and these screens. Seriously, there's a whole lot more space over here, which is really dope. But for right now, I am just building the stage, right? The studio backdrop area, and just making it look nice. Okay. So if you can contribute, please contribute. That would be amazing. Okay. Like I said, it's a very small goal, for what we're about to do for, actually these two walls. There's a wall over here and that wall behind me. So very simple situation, nothing too crazy. They say the build out for the wall will take about a week. So, it's like mudding the wall and all that too. That stuff takes time. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to what's to come. Okay. So if you can, great. If you can't, I understand. Okay. But let's move on. Okay. We got some other things. Brian Enton. There's a Brian Enton piece that I want to share with y'all. So we can talk a little bit about that. So let's get into it, shall we?
Getting in the mind of criminals. And I'll explain exactly why he, A, doesn't, for the most part, believe that the ransom notes are real, and B, thinks that the person who wrote the second note could actually be a woman. And he explains why. And again, these guys go through every little word that we know and analyze it. So I'll have that full interview. And I'll also have the interview with Sean O'Connor, who is the cybersecurity executive, because I have had a ton of questions about the Bitcoin. And I still don't understand how, with all the capabilities of the FBI, they're not able to track the Bitcoin.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for saying that. I still don't understand how a Bitcoin that they have, there's no way to trace that. I find that very strange too, but let's continue.
So that's also coming up later in the episode. But first I wanted to give you guys a summary. Sheriff Nanos, who hasn't done any TV interviews, by the way, and I've tried to get interviews with him several times, but I haven't seen him do any interviews. Even sometimes he'll do the local stations in Tucson, like at the 4-month mark, 3-month mark. We're now at almost 5 months since Nancy Guthrie disappeared. Haven't seen him much lately, but he did go on a local radio show in Tucson over the last couple of days. And he's been on that radio show before. And I'm always interested in listening because it seems like he has a relationship with the guys on the radio there, and just seems sometimes to be a little more open about things that are going on. So I want to tell you a little bit about what he said. He said that the FBI is in charge of the ransom notes,
Appreciate you.
We knew. We knew that the sheriff's office was investigating and was basically in charge of the DNA component of the investigation, since they're using their private lab, but that the FBI is really handling the ransom notes segment. So he didn't have much to add on the latest involving the ransom notes, but he did say that the FBI has done a number of arrests on fake ransom notes. I actually only know of one in California, but he said a number of arrests on fake ransom notes. And he said, quote, "I think we are looking at another one of those today, but we will let them do their work." And it seemed like he was referencing the TMZ notes when he said that. And I've told you guys,
he also said something along the lines of, I think he said it's a shame what's going on with the ransom notes with TMZ and all that. I mean, it's pretty insane what he was saying, but of all people, Thanos Nanos, I don't think has any space to say anything unless it's updates about the case. Not like, oh, here's my commentary on what's going on with those notes. If you have nothing to do with those notes, come to us when you have some information about what's going on. You have any developments? You have any updates about Nancy? Or are you just sitting around drinking coffee and eating donuts? What's going on here? You know what I mean?
I'm always kind of trying to keep the TMZ notes separate from the first 2 notes that arrived that we know the FBI is taking seriously and that Savannah Guthrie tends to believe are real. That was the first note with the actual ransom that I'm told had information in it about where Nancy Guthrie's Apple Watch was inside her bedroom, and also a broken floodlight that made it seem legit, the first note. And then the second note that came later, really within a week, that said that Nancy Guthrie was dead. So I've always kept those 2 notes separate from the TMZ notes, and it sounds like, based on what the sheriff said in this radio interview, that they also believe the TMZ notes are not real. And again, his exact quote was, "I think we are looking at another one of those today, but we will let them do their work." And he was referring to fake ransom notes that the FBI has investigated. So I thought that was interesting. He talked about the FBI task force, and I told you guys about this before, but basically, there are people who are assigned to the Nancy Guthrie case full-time, FBI agents, and then also people from the Pima County Sheriff's Office, detectives, and they meet at the FBI office in Tucson every day, and this is their full-time job, working the Guthrie case. He said that there's a team of 10 to 20 people who meet with the task force, and that's just the Pima County Sheriff's Office component, 10 to 20 people, which is actually more than what I've heard in the past. I've heard like 6 or 7 people. So he's saying 10 to 20 people. So it's still quite a big group of people working the Guthrie case, which is reassuring. And they meet at the FBI office away from the sheriff's office. So that was kind of interesting to hear him talk about. I want to get to my interview now, though, with Dr. Gary Brucato, again, forensic psychologist, criminal profiler. I've been waiting a couple days to talk to him about these new notes because, again, he's so good at sort of pulling information out of notes, getting into the mind of a criminal. And he's very, very skeptical of the notes, of all the notes, including the first two notes. And he's going to explain why. I want you guys to hear my conversation with Dr. Brucato. Dr. Brucato, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. It's nice to see you. Last time I saw you was in person when we did the CW special, but it's always good to catch up with you. I'm really interested to get your take on some of these new developments, specifically with the notes. And I kind of wanted to go about it because I think there's obviously a possibility that the notes are not real, but I think there's a possibility that the notes are real. We just don't know. And that's probably what the FBI is thinking. And Savannah has said that she thinks the notes are real. So I wanted to start by kind of just assuming the notes are real with some of my questioning and see what you make of some of the language. And start with and I'm not talking about the TMZ notes here. I want to talk about the two notes that went to the local TV station that seem like the ones that the FBI are the most interested in. And with the first note, the "Hello, Savannah, we have your mother, Nancy," and that was the actual ransom note with the money demand. What do you make of that, especially the "Hello, Savannah"?
Well, it struck me as peculiar that it was addressed to only one of the siblings, suggesting that perhaps whoever did this thought that would be the primary source of the money.
I mean, I feel like that would be the primary source of money. I mean, you already know. I mean, let's be real. Savannah is the name, okay? Eva Lee, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate the super sticker. But you realize that she's the name. And instantly, if you're a name or you have some sort of notoriety, people will instantly think that you're making money. So I could see why they went with Savannah Guthrie because, one, she's the name. Two, they are assuming because she's working for the Today Show that she's probably making some serious coin. And three, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like she's the name. If it goes straight to her, it's a little bit more dramatic and it becomes a little bit more of a newsworthy piece. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it was sent to the brother or her other sister, it'd still have a lot of weight, but it wouldn't have the same amount of weight or drama attached to it. You see what I'm saying? When you're sending it to a name, a television name, okay, there's going to be a lot more drama to it and maybe cause a lot more urgency on top of that too. But interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the reason why they would do it.
Or that perhaps unconsciously revealing or that there was a secondary motive, which was some sort of interpersonal dynamic that had to do with her. Remember that this is an individual, Savannah, this poor woman is walking around, I think, sort of feeling partially responsible in a sense that she might have been the reason her mother was targeted. And whoever wrote this note doesn't seem to mind her walking around thinking that, which suggests a cruelty toward her in addition to whatever the financial motive is here. So that I think that there's something about this that suggests someone singling her out either for a practical reason, which is financial, or an emotional reason, which is that they have some knowledge of her family, some personal feeling about her, some animosity.
Yeah, and if the reporting is true, I mean, "Hello, Savannah, we have your mother, Nancy."
Mm-hmm.
To me, it strikes me as kind of a weird way of putting it. Like, we have your mother, Nancy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, the word "we" is interesting because if it is true, it settles the question of whether this was a cabal of people or one individual. The problem I have is that I'm always operating within the framework of having concluded that there is a very good possibility this entire thing was designed to give the impression of an abduction when it wasn't one. Or it was an abduction attempt that went very south. If this was a traditional abduction, there would be proof of life given with the letter. Usually, you're looking at 24 to 48-hour window of sending a note and wanting, especially an elderly victim, an elderly target, out of your hands very quickly, because there is the possibility that they won't survive or they'll develop a medical problem or other things. So you treat them very gingerly and carefully and so forth, and you want them back to otherwise you would lose the money. And so it's strange that there's no proof of life, which makes me think that at the time that letter was written, she was already perhaps not with us. and the person was attempting to capitalize.
I think that's a fair assessment right there, too. I think that the notes were made after the fact, that she was no longer here, that she was gone. And I think that the letters were written afterwards. I don't think the TMZ notes are real, but the ones that were like, hey, written directly to Savannah, I think that they have a little bit more weight. And I think there's a possibility that they started writing after she had perished. I also think that she lost her life very early on. I don't think this was a situation where they were keeping her alive for a week and then she lost her life. No, I think she lost her life pretty immediately, in my personal opinion. But let's continue.
Anyway, to get the money anyway.
Is it possible the abductor is younger? Because you would think an older person would realize that they were dealing with an elderly person, maybe would have more of a understanding of that this person was fragile, that this may not go the way you planned, that what health issues are like. I personally think about that more now at this stage of my life with my parents getting older, whereas when I was younger, I don't really remember thinking that way. Could that indicate that the abductor is younger versus older?
My sense is that what it indicates is that the abductor or abductors lack the imagination that is associated with empathy, so that the individual cannot feel what is going to happen to an individual, how a person might react, etc. So the way I think is that lack of compassion and that lack of empathy can become a problem for some people who are planning a crime because they lack that interpersonal imagination. And as I've said from the beginning, Porch Guy shows such a coolness under pressure that I thought this is probably somebody with some sociopathic quality to them. And that's exactly the kind of individual who would not think through the human reaction that a victim would have. It can also indicate that whoever is behind the curtain, because I still believe there's a chef and a waiter, whoever is behind the curtain has a great deal of animosity toward her and really didn't care about her very much. That the point was not to keep her safe to get the money. The point was harm. And everything went as it was supposed to go. For her to be harmed. And so that is the other possibility we have to keep alive. I don't think that the people involved are young. It's very possible that we're dealing with middle-aged people, for example, or but I think the key is whoever this is has had a long-term problem with interpersonal empathy.
And then what about the second note? The second note acknowledging that she died, saying that it wasn't intentional,
buried in nature.
Why would someone, and not asking for anything, why would someone do that?
There are several possibilities that depend upon what really went on here. One possibility, and perhaps I'm cynical about these things, but I don't think that the type of person who would be responsible for abducting an 84-year-old woman would write an apology note without it having a selfish motive. From a pragmatic perspective, I think it may have been trying to preempt the legal situation that could be coming down the pike. So the person is trying to say, just in case I get in trouble for this wasn't intentional. That's possibility one. Second possibility is that this is a phony cover story to hide the fact that it was really just a homicide and the accidental death was precisely what was planned the entire time. Another possibility is you're dealing with multiple psychologies. You have one person who's very cruel and didn't care, and another person who was sort of going along with it and was more emotionally attached to the victim and feels compelled to reach out and say, I'm sorry, and so forth. Another possibility is that you have someone who this individual doesn't have the same degree of lack of empathy and is trying to distance themselves emotionally from guilt or some other kind of thing. But you really run the gamut in terms of possibilities. One thing that struck me was that as a psychologist, I became compelled that the second note at least was probably written by a female. I think that is an interesting thing to think about. And I want you to know I'm not the only person who says that. I've heard it in the news that other people are suggesting that.
It was the sensitivity.
It's the sensitivity and the language. The language is almost poetic. It's peculiar, and that is not how people write notes. That came up with the Ramsey case. That the question of whether, remember the people who thought for a little while that Patsy wrote it, whatever they analyzed the language. Does it sound more like it's written by a female or a male? But I think it was an outsider. But the point is that they pay attention to things like that. The sensitivity and passivity in the language can be a giveaway. I am inclined to think that the first note doesn't necessarily sound like it was written by a female. And what I'm sensing is a rupture between the people involved, which is what I hope brings the whole thing down.
The first
a rupture. I mean, if she really is gone, then yeah, there would definitely be a rupture. There would be some sort of dissonance between if there is more than just one person, more than just one kidnapper, if there is a team of more than just, at a minimum 2, I could see there being some sort of headbutting, if you will, because they're sitting there going like, yo, we should be here with loot. We should be here with money. She should be back in the hands of her family, and we should be rich right now. And we're not, because your plan fell apart or because somebody did something. You see what I'm saying? Some sort of mess up happened that caused a huge problem. Therefore, there might be a rift. She died. If she really did die, and she really is buried out in nature, yeah, there's going to be a rift between these two people. They're going to be angry. One person's like, yo, I had a plan. It was going to be perfect. And then you screwed it up. I screwed it up. You screwed it up, bro. I didn't screw up nothing. If we were doing my plan, she'd be in their hands and we would be swimming in money right now. Swimming in money. But no, you didn't listen to me. You see what I'm saying? So I could see a rupture happening. I could see a drama. But at the same time, I don't think it's two different writers. I don't. Unless one of them was like, yo, I'm out. They don't know who we are. They don't know where she is or who she is or where she is. I'm out. I'm out, man. I'm out. We're not making any money, so I'm out. And maybe, just maybe, because of that, they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna write one more, see if I can make something out of nothing, right? She's buried with nature. So maybe it could be a second person, but I don't think it is. I think it's the same person. I do. But if there's a rupture, that means the other person kicked rocks. That person ran. And of course, I would never do that, but I'm being real, okay? But if I was in that situation, I'd be running, okay? I'd be running. Real talk.
So I'm just hung up, and if it's true, the hello Savannah to me, I don't know why the hello, it just almost feels, something about that just really started, almost like a horror movie, like hello Savannah. I don't know, that's not, I would never write a hello, so you know what I mean? I don't know why I'm stuck on that hello.
I know that, like, why have a salutation like that? It's right, exactly. It feels too personal, friendly. But I'm telling you, I think there's something just too weird about the fact that the notes aren't directed to the entire family.
It's because Savannah has the monies. She got the monies. They don't know. Trust me. The reason why, look, guys, look. The reason why they chased down Nancy Guthrie in the first place is because of Savannah Guthrie. If it is about money, Savannah Guthrie, at least at the surface, is a very wealthy individual that makes a lot of money on social media. Not social media, I'm sorry. On the news. Okay, she makes a crap ton of money. At face value, at the surface, they're going, she got money. That's it. That's the reason why Nancy Guthrie was taken. You never know. Maybe they did do their due diligence, but it doesn't sound like they did. This doesn't sound like the smartest group of kidnappers, of criminals. Because if they did their due diligence, then they would have had medicine for her and she'd still be alive to this day, Nancy Guthrie. They would have kept her alive as long as they could. But that's not the case because they're dumbasses. They didn't realize that moving an 80-year-old woman who could barely walk is going to be a problem. She got medical issues. You're not thinking about that? You just think she's just some healthy 80-year-old person that doesn't need her medicine, that doesn't need any of that stuff? They were not thinking. If they really did their due diligence, then they would know about her brother and her sister. But let's be real. At the At the surface, Savannah Guthrie is the money. She is the money. That's the reason why they took Nancy Guthrie in the first doggone place, guys. So, of course, they're going to send that letter straight to her. Hi, Savannah. We have your mother. Of course they're going to write it like that. She's the source. She's the one who's going to have the money that's going to write her John Hancock on a check and send it right over to them. Or, she's going to be the one authorizing the transfer of millions of dollars to whatever bank account that they want that money sent to. The reason why Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped is because of Savannah Guthrie's deep pockets. That's it. That's it. They don't care about the brother and the sister and them. No, they want Savannah's money. You understand?
I'm very struck by that. Very struck by that. And the use of the word we, the acknowledging her passing and saying it was an accident, the whole thing feels like somebody trying very hard to distance themselves, whether it is emotionally or legally, from the entire thing, which is a good sign because it suggests somebody who wants this over with, wants to break from the other people involved, wants to. I almost feel like somebody should put a message out there and say, "We think you want to talk. We think that you are grieving. Come forward, cleanse your soul. Come to and tell." And because I think that's a window that can be used. And the language was also very peculiar, stilted, like you would see in somebody who was kind of poetically inclined, a writer, that kind of person. The language is not typical of an uneducated kind of sociopath or something like that, right? It looks more like the writing of somebody who has had some education and is a sensitive person.
Nope. I don't see it that way. I see somebody, and I don't mean to disagree with Doc here. I don't. I don't mean to disagree with him. I just think it's not all 110%. No, I think they use ChatGPT. They use ChatGPT, guys. That's what I truly think. They use that mother-loving ChatGPT. That's what I think. ChatGPT. He used it. Or not he, but the person who wrote the letter. Wrote it. Used it. ChatGPT. That's what I truly think. Okay? For translations and whatnot. So maybe it came off a little bit more sensitive than they originally wrote it. Maybe. And what's sensitive about your mama dead? We still want our money, though. If you want her body, give us money. Where's the sensitivity in that, guys? Think about that for a second. Where's the sensitivity in that? We got your mama. Where's the sensitivity? Wait, the only part that I could see that was like flowery and poetic was she was buried in nature. But how sensitive is that? Think about that for a second. How sensitive is that really? It's not sensitive at all, baby. Last I checked, that's not sensitive at all. So listen, not like I don't, obviously this guy's an expert and all that. He's putting in his own 2 cents. I just don't agree with that part. Okay. But I do think that there's a lot of common sense here that we just need to look at. But I think that's the problem with a lot of these cases. Things get so blown out of proportion that the common sense just gets thrown out the window. When the common sense should be the first thing on the table. Common sense tells me that the reason why Nancy Guthrie was actually taken in the middle of the night 4 some odd months ago is because Savannah Guthrie got some deep ass pockets, y'all. She got some ducats, okay? She got that Scrooge McDuck money. You feel me? Crazy money. That, I think, is the initial reason. These letters, whether they are real or not, I don't see this being a letters of sensitivity when you're asking for money in exchange for the life of your loved one. There's no sensitivity there, guys. I don't see that. And you got another thing coming when you saying, oh, sensitivity, after you say, yeah, your mama dead. So sorry. That wasn't our fault. It is your fault. Where's the sensitivity in that? You were the cause of her demise. She didn't die naturally in her home by herself, God forbid. She didn't die in a hospice or in a hospital with her loved ones standing around her. No, she lost her life due to the complications of her abduction by you. So where's the sensitivity in the mother-loving letter? Please tell me where it is. You can put all that bullishness of being born, being buried in nature. You got another thing coming. She was buried in nature, but give us money so we can give you her body. Where's the sensitivity? I don't see it. Do you? Because I don't. I really don't. Just saying. No sensitivity here. And when they do get this person, and if this is the actual person or persons, hopefully they're not using any sensitivity when they get these mother lovers, because these people are not handling her with care. They're not handling the situation with care either. If you really think about it, we haven't heard anything from them in months. Remember that. Buried in nature happened over 140 days ago. Remember that. It's not like they reached out again and said, Savannah, we really need to talk to you. We know where she is. We just want her back with you guys. Please send us money. Doesn't matter. We're not seeing any of that. So they kick rocks. They gone. They gone, y'all. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I may come back to this tomorrow and watch more of Brian Enton's interview. But like I said, and I'm just saying that's the only part I don't agree with is the sensitivity part. There's no sensitivity behind this. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying Brian Koberger did what he did with the Idaho 4 out of the kindness of his heart. You know, like when he said allegedly, "Don't worry, I'm here to help you," and then he unalived one of the girls in the hallway. Okay, that is not, he did that with so much heart and so much sensitivity. No, he was a cold-blooded killer doing something cold-blooded. Same thing with this. They took her. Complications happened because of them taking her, and they still want money for her remains. There ain't no sensitivity in any of that. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do it a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, please make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe right here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Hit that notification bell on both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. Hit that join button again, please. Check out my Patreon right here. Of course, also, if you want to support the build out that's going on back here, please go check out the link to my GoFundMe. It's pinned to the bottom of the chat. And I'll also make sure it's in the description box down below. If you can contribute, that'd be great. If you can't, I understand. All right? No pressure. All right? Check out that Patreon. And of course, if you want to, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Be safe out there, guys. We'll be talking tomorrow morning. I'm sure there's going to be new things popping off tomorrow morning. So we'll be back in the morning, chopping it up, having coffee, and hopefully having some laughs. So anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show.